Hello guys, and we're here today with some more interesting deck profiles, and we're here today with the Monarchs. But before I go into Monarchs, I want to explain why there's two deck profiles in a row. Right now, the replays really aren't working on devpro, and I don't know when they will start working. So we're just going to do two deck profiles in a row, and then on Thursday and Friday we'll do two duels in a row, and hopefully by Thursday they will have everything fixed out and they will have their stuff together. So anyways, we have Monarchs. Yes, Monarchs got hit probably the worst. Well, Kieran going to 1 kind of sucks, and Pendulum Call going to 1 kind of sucks, but my 50 card Pendulum deck is still just wrecking people unless it just doesn't see Sorcerer. But anyways, besides that's tangent, I digress. Monarchs, they're still playable. They are not dead. They are not even close to being dead whatsoever. So we're playing Monarchs with 2 Pot of Desires in the main deck. So yeah, there's a chance you could banish your 1 Pantheism. Oh no! But we're also playing 3 Searchers plus the 3 Tenacity plus the 4 Erebus and then 1 the 3 Erebus and then 1 Aether. So that's 4, 7, 10 cards in your deck that can get you Pantheism or Monarch Stoneforth very easily. So it's not really a worry. Like, yeah, if you don't see it, if you're having trouble getting to it, it can just be absolutely awful. And in order to see it, you either have to be lucky and get off a Tenacity, or be able to get off Ideas, which just makes it more cards that you need. It's not just a 2 card or just opening up with it anymore. You might need 2 or 3, maybe even 4 cards just to get off, just to get to Pantheism. So it does hurt consistency. Consistency is down, but we have 2 Desires, 3 Trade-In, and 3 Allures. So without further ado, let's just go right into the deck profile. 3 Erebus, he's pretty standard, just sends our Pantheism, sends our Prime Monarchs to the graveyard, and he will get rid of a card from the field. I like Thessalos because Thessalos gives us that knowledge of our opponent's hand and then just allows us to get rid of key cards. So that's very useful, especially if you're going first. But if you don't open up with him and you draw into him a late game, or even mid-game, it's not really that good of a card. So that's why we're playing Triple Caius along with the Allure of Darkness. Triple Caius is definitely very nice because a lot of times you can banish 2 cards with him, or even if he just banishes 1 and inflicts 1,000 to your opponent, it's nonetheless very great. And that removal, the banishing, it just helps even more. So I really like how he targets any card. Can target 2 cards, and it's not that difficult for him to be able to target 2 cards, and he just gets rid of it, so it's definitely very useful. 1 Aether because he's at 1, and yada yada. Because he's at 1, we're not running Kiraz. I don't see the point in running Kiraz if you can't summon Kiraz. And then Eodos is Eodos, and Idea is Idea. Just pretty standard for the Monarchs. And then 2 Maxi, and that will round out our monsters. And Maxi is definitely still very good, so that's even more consistency cards that we're seeing in this deck. This deck definitely does not lack anything in consistency, and it can really, it can still be very powerful. Triple Allure. Allure just went to 3, and so that's why we're playing Caius. That's one of the major reasons. I was originally wanting to play Ryza, not Mega Ryza, regular Ryza for the for removal, because I felt that would be better. But then I realized, you know what? Let's go with the consistency. Let's be able to run Allure and trade in, and then have Caius. So overall, I feel it was a very good decision. And Allure of Darkness, definitely very good. And even if you don't have a Dark Monster in your hand, yeah, it kind of sucks when that happens and you have to set everything and then you draw into your cards. But hey, if you draw into a Prime Monarch and another Monarch Spell Trap card, or maybe even Pantheism and it goes to the graveyard, not the worst thing in the world. Or if you draw into Idea and it goes to the graveyard, you get off his effect. So definitely not awful, but sometimes you don't get a Dark Monster, and that can pretty much be game. Like, especially late game. If you top deck this card and it's like, oh, I have no Dark Monsters, let's see what I draw. Oh, no Dark Monsters, GG. But for the most part, it should be pretty decent, as long as you don't banish too many of your Dark Monsters, or if you don't see it. Like, this is a card that you want to banish off of Pandeity. Not Pandeity, Desires. If you banish this, it's just so great. It's like, oh, I'm completely fine with that card being banished. Anyways, 1 for 1 is 1 for 1. Just get to our ideas a little bit more quicker. It does cost a monster. If you wanted to, you could play Rhoda, and it would wouldn't cost a monster. So advantages, disadvantages. Gets you 2 tribute summons, which can be very useful. Well, Rhoda costs less monster, so it really depends. Regeki is just Regeki, and it's a great card. Regeki and Twin Twister are the 2 cards that I tend to banish with Goldsark if I already seen Pantheism. So definitely worth playing, because it's just like, oh, I drew in 2 Goldsark and I already banished Pantheism, or I've already used Pantheism, so let me just get Regeki in 2 turns. Let's see how my opponent deals with that. Anyways, 2 Tenacity, or 3 Tenacity, because it's at 3 and it's another Searcher, so it's still very useful and still helps with consistency. 2 Desires, not 3, why did I say 3? It's 2 Desires, and really no problem with this card. For me, I like to do as much deck thinning as possible beforehand, because hopefully I'll be able to get to the cards that I want, and then be able to banish the cards I really don't care about, such as Allure, such as Goldsark, such as Trade-In. And then Trade-In is great in this deck because of Erebus' second effect. Erebus' second effect is you can ditch a Monarch spell or trap card from your hand to the graveyard, add a Monarch to your hand, or pretty much add a monster with 2400 and 1000 defense. Wait, is that it? You can discard 1 Monarch, then target 1 monster with 24 or more attack and 1000 defense. Okay, so pretty much any of these. I was like, what, just 24? No, any of these monsters you can add to your hand, but the amazing thing about this effect, and I've said this when Monarchs first came out, and I'm saying it again, is if you trade in Erebus, and draw into another trade-in in some other card, like Pantheism, let's say, or just any other Monarch spell trap card, you can ditch the Erebus, add it to your hand, use the second trade-in, and if you draw into another trade-in and another Monarch spell trap card, you can ditch that and do it again. You can keep on activating this effect to add Monarchs to your hand, as long as you have Monarch spell trap cards in your hand, and as long as you add this card to your hand. It doesn't say once per turn for Erebus, the Underworld Monarch, to use the effect. It just says once per turn for that card. So that's a very nice ruling that just gives you more advantage and can really help with consistency if you're just trading in and you're not drawing into anything, but you have multiple trade-ins. So definitely very nice. And then triple Goldsark banishes any card from our deck, and pretty much the way I see this is you're sacrificing your current draw, so that way in 2 turns you could have drawn whatever you want. It's, if that makes sense, like you can banish whatever you get, whatever you want from your deck, and then in 2 turns you get it. So you're sacrificing that draw for now, and you're postponing that draw for 2 turns, and then in 2 turns you will get that card, whatever card you want. So that's definitely very useful. And when in older ban lists and older formats, I know Goldsark was used to get like stuff like Cold Wave, Heavy Storm, Harpy Feather Dusters, Regeki, just all those cards. And so it's definitely, so I really feel like that's probably one of the better things to banish is Regeki and Twin Twister. Just like, and if you get rid of it with Botted Desires, it's I wouldn't care. But definitely very nice being able to search out your Regekis and your Twin Twisters. But of course, the primary target is Pantheism. It's at 1, but it's so key to your deck. And being able to banish it and then getting off an idea and being able to use Idea's effect to get this card back to hand is very useful. You don't have to wait, but even if you do have to wait, it's not the worst thing in the world, because Monarch shouldn't be getting OTK'd. Unless you just don't get off a tribute summon and you just open up awfully. Which does happen. You get more Monarch's hands because they hurt the consistency. That's just going to happen. And then one Monarch Stormforth. Still very key. I'm really glad this card got hit because it was crazy. It was definitely Monarch Stormforth is one of those cards that I feel is one of the most overpowered cards in the game, because it just gets rid of stuff. It doesn't destroy an opponent's monster, it doesn't banish it, it doesn't do anything where monsters can trigger. It's like, oh, Cosmo Dark Destroyer, okay, bye-bye. Beals, bye-bye. Just gets rid of anything. The only card it doesn't get rid of is Towers. And I disagree with that. Like, I feel like this card should be even more broken. I feel it should be able to get rid of anything. And I'm also complaining about the fact that it gets rid of anything. So it's definitely a very interesting card with me. Really glad they put it to 1. And as far as playing Monarchs, it definitely does hurt, because it was really nice being able, if your opponent made you go second or whatever, it just really hurts the consistency because you can't use your opponent's monsters, and sometimes you need to use it. If you don't have the ability to summon an idea, or if you don't have the ability to summon Prime Monarch, you need this card to tribute summon, and you would probably also need to main as well. So it definitely hurts with getting off your tribute summons, but not the worst thing, because I mean, we still have triple idea, we still have Prime Monarch, and we still have Domain, so we should still be able to get off our tribute summons. And to return, I feel return at 2 is definitely very balanced, because at 3 it can clog, because you really don't need 2, and after you get off of Desires, you probably banished at least 1 or 2 of your Monarch monsters, so well, it can hurt because then you don't see Ether as much, maybe, because if you had it at 3 and you got off that tribute summon, then of course you're going to search out Ether probably. That's going to be one of your first searches with this card. But if you see too many of it, it really sucks because they don't do anything, and you only have one Pantheism, and so that takes a while to get back. So debatable. If you like to run it at 3, play it at 3. I like it at 2. 3 domain, pretty standard. This is a tech of mine. I really like this. I feel it really helps out with this deck. Is Monarch's Erupt. Yes, it negates Idea, so you can't null summon him, or if you spell summon him off of Eidos, you won't summon out any Eidos. But this card really messes with your opponent. This card will really mess with your opponent because it's just a skill gen. You place down domain and then you place down this, and you flip this face up. They have no extra deck and their monsters are negated, and yours aren't. Your tributes on monsters aren't, so you can still get off Caius and Erebus and get rid of their cards, but they can't get rid of your monsters to use the extra deck without using a spell card. So it's very nice. At 2, it's definitely very balanced. I'm not afraid to send it for an Erebus. I'm not afraid to send it for a Pantheism, but it's definitely a very nice stun card where they just summon out Blue Eyes all. Oh, I'm gonna be able to get over your monster. Oh no, he just activated this, so my Blue Eyes White Dragon is negated. Or Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon is negated, but nope. So definitely very great card. I really like this, and I feel it will really help out with Monarchs with the new ban list. And then we're running triple Prime Monarch because it helps with more consistency, and it really helps keep us alive because sometimes you do get off double desires, and that really is awful when you have like less than 7 cards in your deck. But Prime Monarch is like, nope, your deck is each turn is going to increase by 1. Because hopefully you have a decent amount of Monarch Spell and Trap cards in your graveyard, and you can just keep on putting them back in your deck, and then just prevent yourself from decking out. And so definitely a very nice card to have. If I lose all my Prime Monarchs, then I kind of feel like I'm about to lose the game. That's how I feel. If I don't have any Prime Monarchs in my Spell and Trap card, like if they're all in the grave or banished, I feel like I'm gonna lose the game because I don't have my cycling anymore. So that is it for this deck. No extra deck, makes this deck very cheap, and no side because I'm not playing this deck this format. So hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later.